Joe, if you were going to move to LA to get into show business, what aspect of show business would you actually want to be doing?
I guess in front of the camera, obviously, acting. Oh, maybe behind the camera's directing. One of those. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Or I suppose I could, get a hold of a gun and force my way into being a producer. That's an option, I suppose.
That's
according to this movie, anyway.
That's one way to go about it. You'd have to make sure to, do some low-level breaking and entering of women's homes.
Oh,
so that they'll accept you into Hollywood society.
Actually, I do that now.
Yes, this is your dating life. This is how it goes for Joseph Dixon.
I do. I just break the women's homes. Some I'm not even dating.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's start the show. Well, does this still work? The podcast is always an S. Does this still work? I'm Joe Dixon.
And I'm George Romacka. And today we're discussing Get Shorty from 1995 and some historical context. First, podcasty stuff. We're excited to announce that we've joined the Creator Accountability Network. CAN is a nonprofit dedicated to reducing harassment and abuse through ethical education and a system of restorative accountability. We joined because we care about the safety and well-being of our community members. If you feel our behavior or content has harmed someone, please report it to CAN, either via the reporting form on their website, creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org, or via their hotline at 617-249-4255. They'll help us make it right and avoid repeating that mistake in the future. CAN also needs volunteers from our communities to help with their work, so if you have skills you think would be helpful, or time and a desire to help, please visit their website to find out how you can volunteer. Most importantly, get the word out to other creators who you think would be interested in getting credentialed. Help us build safer communities together. You can reach us at dtswpod@gmail.com, on Facebook, Letterboxd, and on our YouTube channel. Joe is on Blue Sky at joedixon.bsky.social. Please tell your friends about us, even the ones that miss their flight that then crashes, claim to be dead, collect insurance money, and then run off to Vegas with it. Or Los Angeles, or wherever the hell he ran off to. I don't know.
He ran off to Vegas.
Yes. And leave 5-star ratings everywhere. You can pick what we watch and get extra per episode content by funding us on Patreon for as little as $1 a month at patreon.com/DTSWpod.
George, before we go back to 1995, I just want to be on the record to say that if I ever ran into a bunch of money because people thought I was dead and I collected the insurance, the last place I'm going is goddamn Vegas. That is a really dumb idea. I'm gambling away. I'm lucky to get this money, and I'm going to gamble it away? Are you out of your mind? What a sap.
Yep.
Anyway, now, George, take us back to 1995.
And this is the way it was.
This film involves crime syndicates and insurance payouts. Never mind that insurance companies regularly defraud their own customers.
True enough.
I've got a story about both. Joe, give us the headline from the Daily News of New York, New York.
The mob's crashing in with scams.
I have no idea if this is still as much of a problem nowadays, but I can't imagine it not being one. We see tropes of ambulance chasers and people faking whiplash all the time. What we don't see are entire mob apparati purpose-built to provide everything needed to file a claim to an insurance company without triggering an audit. The syndicate opens multiple fake medical clinics. A runner is recruited and furnished with a driver's license under a fake name and car registered to that name and an insurance policy from the target company. Then the runner concocts a car wreck involving multiple passengers and reports it to the police, who never respond to routine fender benders. They don't report major car damage or any loss of life because those would trigger an audit from the insurance company, and those companies would rather risk paying than pay for a probe. If the insurance company balks, the lawyers threaten to sue for millions and the company settles to the tune of $50,000 to $100,000 per claim. It was estimated that the average policyholder in New York was paying an extra $142 a month in 1995 money because of these scams. If this holds true for 2026, that's $312.25 per month.
To be perfectly honest, I'm not sure I entirely understand. They have they fake an accident, and then they commit insurance fraud by saying the accident didn't actually happen. But they say
no. They say the accident happened. They don't file a claim for the car, but they file claims for multiple passengers with medical problems, and they run them through the clinics that they set up who then bill the insurance company.
I've never heard of this. Is this a common? Well, I guess you don't know either, right? Well, how's common?
I mean,
saying you don't know if they do it today.
It was common enough in 1995. I can't imagine it not happening. Like, it is so much easier to start a policy nowadays. And insurance companies are no more willing to actually investigate or pay out. So I feel like the playing field is the same.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. I got really nothing else to say about it. I don't know.
And as far as how the culture at large received this film, it opened at number 1 in the US box office and stayed there for 3 weeks, until being dethroned by Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, of all things. It was nominated for the Golden Globe Award for Best Motion Picture, Musical or Comedy.
Okay.
Now, Joe, let's talk about Get Shorty.
Let's do that. Okay, well, this was directed by Barry Sonnenfeld. And for the podcast, we've seen his work in Addams Family Values. Both George and I have seen his work in Men in Black 2, and The Addams Family, 1991.
And I've seen his work in Wild Wild West.
This is written by Elmore Leonard. At least he wrote the book, and I believe he also contributed to the to the screenplay. And for the podcast, we've seen Mr. Leonard's work in Jackie Brown. And I've seen his work in Out of Sight and 3:10 to Yuma. This is also written by Scott Frank. And I've seen his work in Logan and Out of Sight.
And I've seen his work in Minority Report.
I just want to quickly say about Mr. Leonard, Elmore Leonard's writing. As you know, George, I'm working on a book. And I'm having friends it. Here's the thing I did discover, because I've read both this. I read Get Shorty. And I read another book by Elmore Leonard. And very interesting. What he basically seemed to do is he would write what I could only take is a screenplay, put it into book form, and pretend it was a book. Because he's got scenes in his book where it's mostly dialogue. Very little description. It's mostly dialogue. But characters would say what people look like. Or even the narrator would have saying what people look like. Like, oh, this guy looks like John Travolta, as if he were actually casting the book. You know what I mean? So, interesting. That's very interesting. All right, blurbs. IMDb says, a mobster travels from Florida to Hollywood to collect a debt and discovers that the movie business is just as sleazy as the Miami underworld. YouTube says, Chili Palmer, a cocky and smooth Miami loan shark / obsessive movie buff, is asked by a Las Vegas casino to go to Los Angeles to convince schlocky exploitation film mogul Harry Zim to make good on his gambling marker. Once Chili discovers that, I don't think the producer has to know too much, he sees no reason why he shouldn't be getting some of that action as well. And besides, being a success in the movie business is a piece of cake for those schooled in more traditional criminal pursuits, based on the 1990 novel by Elmore Leonard.
That was a weird summary.
That's YouTube. Characters. Chili Palmer is played by John Travolta, and he got a Golden Globe Award for Best Actor, Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy.
For this, yeah.
And we, for the podcast, have seen him in Pulp Fiction, Saturday Night Fever, Swordfish, and Face Off. And both George and I have seen him in Broken Arrow. On my own, I've seen him in A Civil Action, Carrie, The Boy in the Plastic Bubble, that's a TV movie, and I first was introduced to him in Welcome Back, Kotter, the TV show.
And I've seen him in Look Who's Talking, Michael, Battlefield Earth, and Austin Powers in Goldmember.
Ray Barboni is played by Dennis Farina. And for the podcast, we've seen him in Snatch. I think he was playing a mobster in that as well, wasn't he?
We'll get to that.
Okay. And I've seen him in Out of Sight and JoJo Dancing Your Life is Calling.
And I've seen him in Saving Private Ryan.
Karen Flores is played by Rene Russo. Both George and I have seen her in Thor, Thor the Dark World, and Avengers Endgame. And on my own, I've seen her in Lethal Weapon 3 and Lethal Weapon 4. Harry Zim is played by Gene Hackman. For the podcast, we've seen him in Bonnie and Clyde, The Birdcage, Crimson Tide, Superman 1978, and Young Frankenstein. And both George and I have seen him in Superman 2 and Unforgiven. On my own, I've seen him in The French Connection, French Connection 2, Unforgiven, The Royal Tenenbaums, The Poseidon Adventure, No Way Out, and Hoosiers.
And I've seen him in Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, Wyatt Earp, and The Mexican.
Wait, so was Gene Hackman in all the Superman Christopher Reeve movies?
No, he was in 1, 2, and 4.
Ah, okay. Beau Carlette is played by Delroy Lindo. For the podcast, we've seen him in Crooklyn, Malcolm X, and we heard him in Up. And we've both seen him in Broken Arrow. And on my own, I've seen him in Sinners, Defy Bloods, The Harder They Fall, The Side House Rules, and Clockers.
And I've seen him in The Devil's Advocate and Gone in 60 Seconds.
Martin Weir is played by Danny DeVito. For the podcast, we've seen him in LA Confidential, Terms of Endearment, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and Hoffa. And both George and I have seen him in Batman Returns, Men in Black, and Twins. And on my own, I've seen him in Taxi, the TV show. I've also seen him in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, also a TV show. And I've seen him in Mars Attacks, Junior, Ruthless People, The Jewel of the Nile, Romance of the Stone, and Car Wash.
And I've seen him in Matilda, Austin Powers in Goldmember, Big Fish, and heard him in Hercules.
Hercules! That's an entirely different movie.
Yep.
Two guys are small-time mobsters in Miami, and they do not like each other. One of the mobsters, Ray Barboni, takes the leather jacket of Chili Palmer while it was in coat check at a restaurant. Chili gets the jacket back by going to Barboni's house and punching him in the face. In retaliation, Barboni goes to Chili's office with a gun, probably either to shoot him or to scare him. Either way, it fails when Chili shoots him first, grazing Barboni's forehead. Pissed, Barboni tries to get his mob boss to put a hit on Chili, but the boss refuses due to Chili being under the protection of another mob boss. But when that guy dies under natural circumstances, nobody murders him, Barboni takes over the guy's operation, and suddenly Chili is stuck working for him. Barboni sends Chili out to collect on an outstanding debt from a guy who was supposed to have died in a plane crash, but is actually alive and living it up in Las Vegas with the insurance money from the airline that went to his wife. She had sent it to him, and she was supposed to join him in Vegas, but he brushed her off. Chili tracks this guy down, where he offers Chili a job to collect money owed him from a movie director by the name of Harry Zim. Zim is in Los Angeles, so Chili heads there. He finds Zim sleeping over at the house of actress Karen Flores. Even though Chili breaks into these people's house and threatens Zim, he is also a movie fan and would love to be in show business. Suddenly, he's pitching movie ideas to Zim, who is very open to this. Zim owes money to another gangster, Beau Carlette. Beau, meanwhile, has stashed $500,000 he owes to yet another gangster in an airport locker and asks the guy who came to collect the cash to get it himself, as there are DEA agents watching. That guy will later refuse to collect the debt and demand Beau go get it. Instead, Beau shoots him dead.
Yep. Which, that guy turns out to be like the nephew of Pablo Escobar.
Yes.
Yeah.
For reasons only the script knows, Karen falls for Chili and starts to assist him in becoming a movie producer. She sets up a meeting with Hollywood star and her ex-husband, Martin Weir. Martin, just like everyone else in this movie, is charmed by Chili and wants in on this movie they're developing. The movie ends with Ray going to the airport to get the money and presumably being either picked up by the DEA or killed by them. Bo will die at the hands of his right-hand man, Bear, who also, for reasons the script never really gets into, gets taken in by Chili. And Chili becomes a movie producer with Karen of a movie called Get Shorty. The end. I should note, there are slurs used in the film if you need a heads up about that sort of thing. Okay, George, as always, I left out a lot. What would you like to add?
What flavor of slurs were they?
There was the F slur, and
there was at least one Italian slur.
There is, I guess, an Italian slur, and there may be a black slur, although I don't remember hearing it, but I was reading a summary that said it was there, so I don't know. I don't remember hearing it, though.
Weird. Yeah, Bear is James Gandolfini. We didn't put him in the credits, but he's there doing that. Falling downstairs and undoing bolts on handrails so that he can kill his boss. Ironically, in the way that the boss described wanting to kill someone else.
Right. James Gandolfini character, who I don't really get into, he is the heavy for this mob boss, and doesn't do a whole lot but get his ass kicked. So I don't know why he's not heavy for anything. And then becomes fun. Chili. And
he's got a kid. He's got a 7-year-old daughter who is with him sometimes, and it's good cover, I guess, but. Yeah, it's also kind of a liability when you're working for a guy like Bo.
Yeah. Well, let's get into this thing.
Okay.
George, does Karen's behavior make any sense to you?
No.
Chili breaks into her house twice, and she still becomes his lover. I've dated women who've objected to me stopping by their house without calling first. Are women really cool with men entering their houses uninvited?
No, Joe, they're not.
Really?
This is 100% A because the script says so. Now, I'd argue that most people are not watching the movie the way we watch the movie, where we're looking for things to poke holes with. This is the first time I'd seen it. Didn't really clock for me, because it was written well enough that, it wasn't screaming at me that this is fucked up.
When I first saw this, because I saw it in the theaters when it first came out, it also didn't clock for me. But I would say at that time, also, I wasn't particularly, my consciousness wasn't as raised back then. So I would have thought, yeah, sure, you can break into a woman's house and she'd be cool with it. Why would that be a problem? So, yeah. But no, yes, that's ridiculous. It's obvious the script says so. Like, what are you doing? Twice he does it. Not even just once, twice. And she does not mind. So she doesn't get new security, doesn't change locks, nothing. Like, you think she'd be freaked out? This is an actress. This is a famous actress. Even if she doesn't mind it from him, what if one of her fans broke in? You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah.
Does the Chili Palmer character reinforce or romanticize the tough guy stereotype? Is he a toxic male?
He's less toxic than some males. But yeah, he's a toxic male. He throws people down the stairs in restaurants. He was a loan shark for the mob. He's a guy that goes and extracts money out of people that owe the mob money. Like, it does a good job of softening him, because they go real hard on him being a movie buff to do that.
Yes. Like,
he beats the crap out of Bear in a parking lot, and then he's like, all right, are you okay? Now, what about this movie that I saw you in? And then they become friends because, he's kind of a fan of the movies the guy's been in. So, I'd say it's trying to romanticize the tough guy thing.
Very quickly, that whole scene in the restaurant, which I also, at the time, in 1995, didn't bother me, but did bother me today, is like, hey, there is no way that would happen. And this is supposed to be a very fancy place. This isn't even in McDonald's, but this isn't McDonald's. This is a fancy joint. You throwing someone down the stairs, they would have thrown them all out. They would have they just go back. They go back and sit down and have the meal. That wouldn't have happened. They would have said, and somebody would have called the police. And I have no doubt, And a place like that, especially in LA, there would have been a lawyer somewhere, if not several. Someone would have said, hey, do you want to sue? I mean, it would have been the whole thing. If people just went back to their meal, nothing would have happened. That's crazy.
This is a second movie where there's questionable reactions to people falling downstairs that make me think Hollywood has a problem. The other one is James Bond, the Quantum of Solace one.
Oh, something we haven't seen for the podcast.
Right, but there's this one part where this low-level, MI6 person was sent to retrieve James Bond, right? And he seduces her and takes her to a party. And as he's leaving the party and kind of being subtly chased by the bad guy, like she's going up the stairs and trips the bad guy. And James Bond just leaves. Like... And then she turns up dead later. Like, not long later. And it makes me wonder, like, what did he think? Why did he continue? Like, I know why he continued to leave, but why didn't he make sure she was going to be safe before he left? When she just had his back like that. Like, James Bond didn't even need her to have his back like that. So he could have turned around and... So anyway, it's... But also, like, the rest of the gala that they're at, nobody else reacts to this at all.
No, it's very strange.
So, yeah.
This is a side point, but I'm going to bring it up anyway, since you did mention James Bond. One of the things that really annoyed me in the James Bond movies, because, all right, as you know, James Bond goes to the guy who fixes weapons for him, and that guy's called Q.
Mm-hmm.
Q is not it may be a code name, but Q stands for quartermaster. It is not just a letter in the alphabet. They don't call it quartermaster, just say Q. When that actor died and John Cleese came in to take over as a new quartermaster, his name was R, as if he was the next letter in the alphabet. He would not be R. He would just be the new Q. Why did they name R? That's not right. That was so annoying to me.
And that was a problem with the Pierce Brosnan James Bonds that solved it when they made the Daniel Craig ones, because while Q was a completely different, much younger person with a very different kind of skill set and way of approaching the job of quartermaster, he was Q.
Yes, yeah. It was such I'm like, dude, how can you make this movie and not know this? Like, you should really be reading up on James Bond. It's clearly the producers had no idea who put this together. They say, oh, well, he's Q. Oh, so he must be next one must be R. Q stands for something. They just name him Q. It's not like 007, which is made up. I don't know. It just drove me nuts. For Pierce Brosnan, he was a really good James Bond, but the scripts he got were terrible. Anyway, back to this movie.
I thought Christmas only came once a year.
One of the worst James Bond lines.
Yep.
Is this movie a critique of the American dream?
I don't think this movie was aware of the American dream. But also, to me, the American dream is you work hard, you can afford to buy a house in the suburbs with a white picket fence and have 3.7 children. Like, that's the American dream for me. Like, that's what I think of when I think of the American dream. Mm-hmm. This has nothing to do with that.
The reason I asked the question, because I mean, remember, he goes from being basically this nobody, Chili does, and just a random mobster in Miami, and then he goes to Los Angeles and becomes a big-time movie producer.
Yeah, has his own named parking spot and everything.
Yeah, so I do think it's some sort of critique of the American dream. Like, what kind of nastiness you need to make it in the world, in the larger world. It's not just about Hollywood. I think there was a critique there.
I don't necessarily think it would be a critique. I think if it had something to do with the American dream, it would be like anybody can be anything that they want to be.
As long as they threaten enough people.
Sure. I mean, you didn't see most of the people threatening most people. It was really two of them. And one of them sort of playing at it, and then he gets his face bashed in.
Mm.
As someone who wanted to work in movies, did Chili's transition from loan shark to producer feel like a satire of Hollywood, or did it hit close to home to how people make it in the industry?
I don't know that it's a satire of people making an industry, since we know how people actually make it an industry. They're related to someone in the industry. That's the number one way people make it. And not just, we tend to make a big deal out of actors having like family members who are actors and making it, but literally casting, the crew, camera, cinematography, all of that has been used to get people into the industry. So,
yeah,
and people hire people they know. And Hollywood is extremely incestuous. Could a person be like a loan shark and make it in the industry? Possibly, if they bring enough money with them, sure. They can probably buy their way in. But that's true of, you don't have to just be a loan shark, just have enough dough. Like, hey, I want to invest in your movie. And they'll go like, sure, I'll take your money. We don't care where it came from. But no, I think most people, we know how they make it in an industry. It's being related to someone.
Mm-hmm. You saw this movie when it came out in 1995. Does this feel like a movie they're still making today?
I think a film like this, where basically it's an anti-hero, he would technically be a bad guy in any other movie, but in this film, he's the hero. I think that's more of a TV thing these days. I feel like it's more cable, basic cable and streaming, where you find a guy we normally would see as evil, but he's a star of like Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul, that sort of thing. These characters used to be the bad guys in films, and now we give them starring roles, make these characters the star of it. So, no, in terms of movies, I would say, yeah, there's a lot less movies like this. I think there's much more television. What do you think?
I don't watch enough TV to really know.
Well, you probably watch more than I do.
Not of new stuff. Let's see.
Well, you watch streaming.
That's just a method of delivering television shows. That's not a category of television shows. I'm thinking of the newer stuff that I've seen. I don't think so. I think at least from what I'm seeing on TV, they're more wanting to have flawed characters, but not necessarily anti-heroes, because it's easier to keep a flawed character interesting. Because if you're going for, you want multiple seasons and you want to keep this revenue, because it's all fucking capitalism, right? It's all wanting to make something that keeps going to keep making people money. You want it to stay interesting, and you do that by having flawed characters, because you have their virtues and then their flaws keep the story going.
But characters always had flaws. I think they're a lot more
I think they're more deeply flawed nowadays.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, all right, I will go with that. Sure. Yeah, I agree. They're certainly much more flawed. I think we do have more anti-heroes than we used to, but...
For what it's worth, I think characters are more nuanced today than they used to be. So Delroy Lindo is the main black character in this movie. Do his actions seem real to you?
The interesting thing about his character, because he is not the main black character, he's the only black character. And it kind of, and Bear is his assistant, then he has some other guy he also works with, both white guys. I would think if you are this sort of character in that environment, he'd probably have a lot more black people around him. He'd also probably want to produce a black film. I think, just logically speaking, number one, there's something that's very strange about this. It's not seemingly until, granted, I guess he was already investing in films, but you would think he'd already have something made before Chili ever got to town. And for some reason, it's when Chili gets there, there's suddenly the light is lit under him to get this film produced. But he should have been doing that already. It didn't really make any sense to me. But in terms of as him as a black character, I think this was written, even though I'm very curious, because in the film they actually address, hey, the character doesn't have to be black. The character doesn't have to be white. He can be black. Doesn't say that in there. So I think that's sort of almost a meta thing that they're doing there. I don't remember if that conversation was in Get Shorty the book or not. But I do know that, just logically speaking, I would think he'd probably have a couple of black people around him. A man literally knows nothing but white folks. It seems unlikely.
And he's very willing to shoot the only other character of color in the movie.
That's right. He kills someone. The one guy he kills is another person of color. It's true. Yeah. Hispanic.
What about Renee Russo? Did she seem like a white lady to you?
The interesting thing about Renee Russo, the thing that made no sense about her was just the breaking in and she being cool with it. Other than that, an actress wanting to move into producing, that's certainly realistic. I can believe that. How much of what Rene Russo is going through is realistic to filmmaking, or rather the way her character gets along. I mean, I do like the fact that she manages to sleep with both Gene Hackman and John Travolta, and it's not a big deal. No one says like, "How dare you? Oh, you." Yeah, she can sleep with what she wants, and she does. So that's cool. No one seems to care, and it's not brought up. It's not an issue whatsoever. No one thinks about it, which I do think it's cool. I do wonder, though. Again, it seems to be the chili is what really gets the fire under her to produce, as opposed to her doing it herself. But again, you think there's been something she'd already done before that man ever got to town. So that's kind of weird. She also doesn't seem to know any other women. The one woman she interacts with is her husband's ex. I'm sorry, her husband's current wife. Her ex-husband's current wife. So the one he had the affair with. So that, they could have probably developed her a little bit more.
I forget.
Ultimately, she's just there to be Chili's girlfriend more than anything else.
Yeah, and I don't know why we didn't mention the Bette Midler cameo in the movie.
She's such a small part.
It's weird.
Yeah, Bette Midler does. I also, frankly, was kind of confused who she was. She like owned one of the scripts or something. I wasn't entirely sure who she was.
Yeah, me neither.
That's another reason I left her out, because she obviously has something to do with the movie business, and she's into Gene Hackman because she's trying to get into his bed. But I had no idea who this woman was. I was like, oh, screw it.
So you've seen exactly one more Dennis Farina movie than I have. For the show, we've seen him in this and Snatch, and he could have been the exact same character in both.
That is true.
Do you remember if he did that in Out of Sight also?
God, that's a good question. I do not remember what his character was in Out of Sight, so I have no idea. Dennis Farina, I don't know how much you know about his background. He actually was a Chicago cop, and he was involved in the crackdown during the 1968 Chicago Convention. He was one of the cops busting the heads of hippies. And one of the hippies whose head he busted was a producer who would go on to produce Crime Story, a show he was on. This is a common story, so that's why I know about it. They talk about it. But he left being a cop to become an actor, and very successful one for many, many years. But I don't remember who he played in Out of Sight. But he did play a lot of gangsters. On TV, I mostly know him from Crime Story, where he played a cop. He played also a cop in a Law and Order spinoff. But in terms of movies, he seemed to play mostly gangsters, I guess. I mean, people can write in and correct me on that, but I don't remember what he played in Out of Sight.
Like, yeah, in this and Snatch, he's not just a gangster. He's a gangster that's like one outburst away from an aneurysm.
He's an asshole. In both pictures, he's a complete jerk.
He's a complete
Bigoted,
jerk. He's also
stupid.
incredibly on edge.
Yes.
Like, and it was striking how similar. It was like, didn't we just watch this movie? All right. This film is in a list on Wikipedia of being a Tarantino-esque film. Do you agree with that assessment?
I guess Tarantino, because it's a violent crime picture. No, actually. I think it's different from a Tarantino film, even though it is a crime story. And Elmore Leonard also did Jackie Brown. But the way it's directed and the feel of it, to me, feels different from Tarantino. I think Tarantino's film would be much, if he had done this, it would be much more violent. There'd be a lot more deaths. A lot more people would have gotten shot.
Bloodilier.
Yeah, we probably would have seen more women's feet. In fact, we see no feet in this, so not a Tarantino picture.
All we get is an oblique reference to one guy being shot in the foot.
There is a guy shot in the foot, but we don't see his feet.
Yeah. All right.
The shooting in the feet is implied.
Yes.
All right, so that's enough with the questions. Does this still work?
Yeah, sure. Like, I didn't even clock the slurs. So they go by so quick. Like, because they don't do it over and over again.
Yeah, and I think it's mostly from Dennis Farina's character, so so
you kind of expect it.
Yeah.
Would it be a Dennis Farina character if he wasn't using slurs? But the story, it was a well-written story. The characters were likable. I kind of enjoyed it. And I don't see too many problems with it. So, sure, why not?
Yeah, I think it overall still works. I would develop the female character a wee bit more. But overall, it's fine. As I said, she certainly doesn't she talks about her job more than she does like, oh, I'm in a relationship with someone. So she passes the Bechdel test. So yeah, overall, I think it works. It's not the most profound film we've ever seen. It's not the funniest. It's not the brightest, but it works well enough. It's a mid-level picture. So yeah, I say overall it works.
Alrighty.
So George, what's up next?
Our next episode is a Patron's Choice episode, and the patrons have voted. They picked from 3 films of a road trippy theme, I think, and landed on Little Miss Sunshine from 2006. If you want to vote but are not a patron, you can fix that by becoming one at patreon.com/DTSWpod.
Have you seen Little Miss Sunshine?
I have not.
I haven't either. So this will be a new one for both of us.
Yep.
I'm familiar with the film, but I have a vague idea who's in it, but I never actually saw it. So it should be fun. We'll have to avoid calling because I believe the lead character is our man from The Office. God,
Steve Carell?
The name of the actor? Huh?
Steve Carell?
Steve Carell, yes. I believe Steve Carell stars in it, if I'm not mistaken. And so we'll have to be sure not to call him by the name of his character in The Office.
Don't call him Michael Scott? Yeah.
Michael
okay.
Scott, right. Okay, so I guess that's it for this episode. I'm Joe Dixon. Thanks for listening.
And I'm George Romaca. Thanks for listening indeed, because if a podcast drops and there's nobody around to hear it, it's just another collection of ones and zeros that doesn't matter. We go for it.
Get into my writing.
Okay. We don't need to get into anything I'm doing either.
You've been listening to Does This Still Work? Produced by Joe Dixon and George Romaca.
This content is CAN credentialed, which means you can report instances of harassment, abuse, or other harm on their hotline at 617-249-4255 or on their website at creatoraccountabilitynetwork.org.
The hosts can be reached via social media, email, or the contact page at dtswpod.com. Be good to yourself and others, because that still works.
For myself, I've seen him in Out of Sight.
Didn't you see JoJo Dancer Your Life is Calling?
I did. Is he in that?
Yes.
Oh, I missed that in the credits. Okay.
And I need you to say that because then my question makes sense. From No Stupid Questions, why do adult men seem to have almost no recent photos of themselves unless a woman took them? From Stupid Questions, why does the mirror boost my confidence, but a camera destroys it? Alright, from Random Questions, if manslaughter is the term for an accidental killing that's considered less severe than murder, then why did they make it sound so much worse? From No Stupid Questions, why do insects still get trapped by spiderwebs? Spiders have been running this scheme for millions of years. You'd think word have gotten around the insect world not to do this. From Stupid Questions, why is it called sleeping together when the activity it is referring very much involves being awake? Well, and from Random Questions, guys, how often do you change your bed sheets?